Over the years, you and Charlotte Rodstrom have positioned yourself as anti-development activists in the beach area. But now Charlotte's being criticized for voting no on too many projects. So are you now in a position of having to say, I'm not as anti-development as she is?
I think that we both were in the beginning at the same point where we were anti-overdevelopment as opposed to anti-development. And then something happened where Commissioner Rodstrom took that mantra and it became anti-any development. And every vote has been no. It's hurt not just the beach, but it's hurt parts of our district that are yearning for redevelopment. Progressive Village, Flagler Village. They told me stories of when, in the good years, a few years back, they had opportunities to develop, like the junkyard in Progressive Village, areas around the 13th Street corridor, and because she basically came and said to them, I was elected to oppose development. I'm not supporting this project. That's the kind of thing that it's too inflexible. It's too much of an ideologue when it comes to redevelopment and economic development. I saw her do a video with you, and she talked about how economic development was going to be her issue this year, not development per se. But I don't know how you can make that leap when you've totally closed your door to anyone that's been willing to invest in the city over the last 3 years. And I've heard those stories of people not even being able to get an appointment. So I think that she's just taken it too far, too inflexible. And so now where I believe that if a project makes sense to a neighborhood, to a business community, to a development community, and people have come together and worked to make it, quote, a win-win project, I think you have to support that project. I don't think that you can be in a position of leadership and just say no to everything, because no is not leadership, and no growth is not smart growth. And I would much rather see us operate from a perspective of smart, reasoned growth that people accept across the spectrum, and not just to be there to say no. Too many 4-to-1 votes on everything, and so that creates a red flag for me.
But you could see yourself, even on a large project like a Bahia Mar complex, voting yes if the site plan is something that you think is pleasing?
I could see myself voting yes. I could see myself voting no. I have to see what this ends up to be. Again, just like the question with the city manager, it's presumptuous of me to sit here now in the position that I'm in and to judge when I don't have all the facts, when I haven't had a working relationship with somebody, and I don't know what the end result is.
Well, give us an example of a project that you supported that she voted against, that was at the beach.
Here's two. Actually, I'll give you two that I was against when she was against it, and then I became for it. Okay. That'll probably answer your question. The Orion on the side of the Howard Johnsons right now. When that project first came to our neighborhood, we didn't like it. It loomed over the A1A, just like all those other monstrosities where people couldn't even have room to walk, shadow on the beach, too early. We told them, no, we don't like it. We worked to the point and got them to actually create a plaza on A1A, push the building west off of A1A, and for the first time on the beach, respect the neighborhood. And by that I mean they did a 360-degree design. They created townhomes and pedestrian-friendly walking spaces on the west side of the building. No one had ever done that. Compare that to the W, which has a wall on the west side of the building facing the neighborhood. Very insulting and disrespectful to the neighbors that live there. We got them to do all of that, and then we gave them our vote of support. Commissioner Rodstrom voted against the project. That was one of my first big splits with her.
Okay.
I could not get her to understand that sometimes you have to let reason guide you and what the neighborhood wants.
What was
then
the other one?
The second one, big one, 2.5 years, the neighborhood worked with the developers, the family that owns Islands Inn, now also known as Fairwinds on the Ocean. $500 million project in the northern part of the beach between Oakland and Sunrise. The first time they came to us as a neighborhood, 2 ugly towers with 6 or 7 stories of podium parking and nothing for the neighborhood. Absolutely nothing. And we said, this is not going to work. We worked with them over 2.5 years to the point where at the end of the day, we got all buried parking, 2 beautiful buildings that came way down in height, that actually mimicked the historic building that's there now in the S-shaped curve that it is right today. We got them to come from a height of at least 7 stories below the Palms, which is its neighbor on the south, all the way down so that it, in an S-curve shape, it diminishes down to 30 feet so that when it abuts the single-family neighborhood just to the north, Fort Lauderdale Beach Homeowners Association, it's at the same height as those single-family homes. We got them to create incredible and open up brand-new public access ways to the beach from A1A that did not exist. We got them to bury power lines for 5 blocks leading up to the hotel site from 18th Street where the beach first opens all the way up to 23rd where they are. We got them to bury power, cable, and phone and remove all of the poles. We got them to do paver treatments along A1A, increase landscaping, increase decorative lighting. In other words, millions of dollars of givebacks to the neighborhood that we were able to get for the project. And that's not even having anything to do with the transformation of the site plan into something that everyone said, yes, this is beautiful. Now, this went from a confrontational dialogue in the beginning, more than 3 years ago now, to a situation where the Central Beach Alliance was able to come together with the Lauderdale Beach Homeowners Association, Dolphin Isles,